Good morning, everybody. Hope your 4th of July was awesome and that you are safe. I hope nobody got hurt. And I just really hope that it was enjoyable for you. As we celebrate the main reason we're able to do things that we do in our country. However, I wanted to talk about something I have pressing me, and it hit home finally. And that is politics, how it is very divisive. A lot of us used to be able to, I know growing up, a lot of people were able to discuss their differences, and there was not this issue to where you could lose family. Lose friends, relationships, crumbling, all that stuff. It didn't happen before. And we're seeing this environment, this era where that has become a trend. And I'm seeing this word bigot being thrown around like crazy. Okay. My fiance asked me, what is a bigot? So I was like, the best way to find something out is to do the research. So I did some research with her and I said, I want to be educated on this as well. And I wanted to give you guys a definition of what being a bigot is. And I think there's a problem right now with how people are using that word and tossing it around like it's a salad. All right. But here's what a bigot is. A bigot is a person who is intolerantly devoted to their own opinions and prejudices, especially those based on race, religion, or other group affiliations. Bigots are unwilling to accept or respect views or beliefs that differ from their own, often displaying hostility towards those who are different. That hit me. And here's why. Right now, a lot of you are tossing that word around to each other, even towards the president. And I have to be completely honest. We are a nation of bigotry. Regardless of what side you sit on, there's bigotry all over the place. Look at the BLM situation, the pride situation with LGBTQ, immigration, gun rights. The list goes on. And as you saw from the riots recently, the Black Lives Matter riots, I mean, we could go down a list of situations that have taken place. And when you look at that, there's hostility in the whole situation, basically because you have an opinion based off of whatever belief you got. And because no one is following it the way that you want, you become hostile. It's not just a protest, okay? Because the protest is different. You're just, hey, hear me. You know what I'm saying? But when it gets hostile, where we're seeing violence and all kinds of stuff going on, it's bigotry, guys. Cut and clear. If you're willing to cut off your friends, your family, because you have a belief and they don't follow it, you're a bigot. We can't have conversations where we can learn off of each other anymore. It's becoming obsolete. As soon as you have an idea and somebody says or does something that doesn't follow your ideas, immediately say, I'm cutting this person off. That's it. You have to understand You are a product of your environment at that time. Like you have an option to change that. And I'm going to give you an example. Right now, we got an immigration situation going on. And I made a post yesterday to celebrate 4th of July. Okay. And I don't talk about the military or any of that stuff simply because I'm not prideful about it. I had my own situations take place and I don't really like talking about it. And you guys are making it way more difficult to do so with all the stuff that's going on. Like, I can't have pride at all with the stuff that's going on. Okay. But I want you to and think about something for a moment. If you grew up in a town and you spent your entire life there and you ain't lived nowhere else, I'm sorry, but you're surrounded by the walls of that area. That's it. You don't know life outside. The only life you know outside of that is whatever you're seeing on social media, okay? Whatever you're seeing on the news. In my opinion, and as a fact, you have zero knowledge on what's going on beyond those walls because you have not removed yourself from there. You have not given yourself experience to go anywhere else. And experience is a very, very important topic that I want you to keep in your mind for a moment. All right. While I'm talking about this. Now, growing up, I grew up in the city of Chicago. Okay. And you hear all kinds of stuff. Living somewhere and visiting somewhere are two different things. Okay. I don't care if you've been to Chicago and you went to the Sears Tower, the Willis Tower. I don't care if you've been to Navy Pier. I don't care if you've been to the Bean. I don't give a damn. But you never lived there. A lot of you never lived there. And I could tell you right now, I survived because I grew up there. I lived there. I went to school there. I've been shot at. I've been robbed. I've been jumped. I lived there and I couldn't wait to get out of there. Okay, so after I left the city of Chicago, I moved to Elgin, Illinois. And when I moved to Elgin, Illinois, I saw a difference. The education sector was different. Living was different. Taxes were different. Everything was different outside of Chicago. I didn't know how to take it. I felt like I was on a TV show. And you know why? Let me tell you about the educational aspect and how schools are they differ. I had a pep rally, Carl Schurz High School. My pep rally for homecoming. It's a day of class. We're all called to the auditorium. Everybody sits down in these old wooden chairs in the auditorium. Very uncomfortable because they're super old. All right. We sit there. The band plays a couple songs, whether they were on the balcony because it was a opera style auditorium. Okay. Sometimes the band was up top in the balcony of those seats, and sometimes they were on the stage. Okay. Now, they would play a song or two or three, right, to pump us up. Okay. Then our football team would get on stage, and our mascot, which was a bulldog, they would get on stage and they would scream and everybody would scream and stuff like that. They'd do a little huddle where, they're like, bulldogs. And then everybody went back to class. That's my pep rally. Okay. And if we didn't get to class on time, we got detentions, which was Saturday school. Okay. We had cops in our school. All right. We had all kinds of stuff. And we had to wear school uniforms. It was a white collared shirt and blue dicky pants. That's all we were allowed to wear. Our backpacks were see through. They were all black, but they were netted. Okay. So I leave my senior year. Okay. And I moved to Elgin at 17, had myself emancipated from my mother. Okay. And I move to Elgin, and I registered myself at Larkin High School. And when I registered myself at Larkin High School, since I was emancipated and I was under the age of 18, they set me up with a social worker. You don't get that in Chicago, right? So I started to see some differences, and I'm like, all right, what's this about a social worker? Social worker, okay. I would meet with this person once a day, sometimes once a week, twice a week. It just depended on my needs. Okay. I was considered legally homeless. All right. None of that was going to be provided in Chicago. None of it. So I got this social worker, and while I'm there, they are paying for my graduation, my yearbook, my prom, my tuxedo rental, my luncheon. They were paying for everything. I they even took me to get my license, helped me practice driving. I mean, I could go on with a list of things that were being given to me that I wouldn't get in the city of Chicago. And instead of asking why, I was like, I'm coming from the city, man. We ain't got much. So I'm like, yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. It's like you're handing me freebies. In comes pep rally, their homecoming. It's a class day. Well, the pep rally went like this. We're in the gym room. All the stands are pulled out. All the students, and I mean all the students. There was no separation like there was in Chicago. The entire school was in this gym room. There wasn't enough seats. I'm like, all right, what's going on here? It's going to be just like what I've already experienced. Well, the band comes marching in. They're throwing batons. They're playing music. The cheerleaders come in. They're doing pyramids. I'm thinking, what's going on here? Is this Bring It On? They're doing pyramids. They're doing everything. The football team comes on. They do skits. They do all this crazy stuff. Even some of the football players dressed like cheerleaders. Okay. And threw on cheerleading shows as a joke. Okay. But I mean, this went on for, I think, an hour or two or more. And after the pep rally was done, the entire school went outside following the football team, and they had a parade. The entire time I'm sitting there, I'm looking around like, am I on TV? Am I getting punked? Like, what is this? I've never experienced anything like it. As time went on and everything was being provided, and they helped me get all the things I needed, I started to question, why don't they have this in Chicago? What's going on? I got ignorant. I'm like, this is bogus. And the longer I lived in Elgin, I eventually, I started working and I got a job and everything. I moved to Carpentersville, saw a bunch of different stuff going on there too, being able to rent a house and all kinds of stuff, okay, with people, had roommates and everything. Moved back to Elgin, left Elgin, moved to Waterman, Illinois. And out of that whole entire time, I had situations where I'm walking down the street and somebody's passing by in a car. How's it going? And I'm looking like, I don't know that person. Because in Chicago, if anybody looked at you in a car passing by, it was, Mean mugging the entire time. Nobody was waving at each other unless you knew each other. It was very difficult because you always had to watch your back. So moving out to these different places, I went from suburb to country. I gained a bunch of experience and I had no idea that that was happening. I was a Democrat. Why? Because I lived in Chicago. I hated cops. Couldn't stand cops. I couldn't stand cops for the life of me. The sight of them disgusted me because of things I saw in the city. And it's not that they were all bad, right? It's because of stuff that I was being taught. I was being taught to hate cops. So when I moved to these different places and I left Chicago with my anger towards the police, um, my ideology about government, it started to shift because of that word experience. A lot of you have not left the walls of where you grew up or anything. You want to scream indoctrination. Leave your area because I can guarantee you right now you're indoctrinated. You just don't know it yet. And you're a bigot because depending on the beliefs in your area, where do you think you got it from? I'm not a Democrat no more. I'm independent. Why am I independent? Because I lived with Democrats. I lived in the inner city. I saw what Democrats were doing. And I thought that it was okay. I thought they were fighting for me. And then I left to primarily Republican areas. I'm currently in one. And I saw how Republicans think. I saw what Republicans were doing. I saw their type of bigotry. But I saw that when I was able to draw the comparison because of experience, I was seeing what was wrong with both sides. And the only reason y'all can't see that is because you're stuck behind the walls of wherever you've been living the entire time. You got zero experience, and a bunch of you are talking on politics and have no clue what's going on outside of your walls. You secluded yourself, you segregated yourself, and you don't even realize it. So what, you went to visit somewhere? Living is two different, living and visiting are two different things. But I think we have a bigotry problem amongst ourselves. It's not just our government. I had a friend last night. I made a video, I put it up. Nothing bad, nothing disrespectful to anyone. If anything, I was paying tribute to our Declaration of Independence and paying tribute to the soldiers that made it home, that made sacrifice. Why would I disrespect them because of what people in government are doing right now? We're honoring them. We're not honoring our government. We're honoring them. We're honoring what was done. If you think you're not free, go to another country and spend a lot of time there. I know men and women who have gone on mission trips and spent more than a few days, more than a week. They lived there for a little bit on mission trips and came back and were just, wow, I'm free. If you don't think we're free, why are people running here? They're putting their families at risk to get here, their children. How does that not make sense to you? Because we are free. We're always going to have our opinions on different laws that are being made because there is nothing that's going to get passed that is going to be okay with everyone as a whole. We have too many different ideas. And the fact that we can have that in this country is freedom. Go to North Korea. See if you can have different opinions. You can't. That's why we celebrate Independence Day. We're able to have the ability to do those things. Growing up in Chicago, two major things took place. Okay? From growing up as a child there, we had Puerto Rican independence and we had Mexican independence. Parades, celebrations. In June, Puerto Rican independence would take place. Okay? And there would be people lining the streets, waving the Puerto Rican flag. Boricua, Boricua. I got family members that are still doing that to this day, every June. Humboldt Park. Okay? And it would get so violent. So violent. There were fights, gang fights, shootings, people getting killed. As a matter of fact, there was a couple of Puerto Ricans that were celebrating in their vehicle. They accidentally bumped another car. Their car got crowded. The woman was dragged out of the car. And when her significant other tried to help her, to protect her, they were both shot execution style. Celebrating Puerto Rican pride. Killed in the street. Well, these are Puerto Ricans killing Puerto Ricans. Make it make sense. And you think that's the only time that happened. Mexican independence, we had a similar situation happen in Chicago as well. Around, can't 100% forgive me, but around September is Mexican independence. And they do the same exact thing. Line the streets. The police got to shut the streets down because everybody's waving their Mexican flags and doing all this stuff like that. Okay? But we're not free. You're in the United States of America. And you're celebrating the independence of your land, your isla. Okay? Your raza. In another country. You're celebrating the independence of your island or your country in the United States of America. So when Americans who were born here want to celebrate their independence, America's independence, you think they shouldn't? Yes, there are things we don't agree with, but we're still free. That's what we're celebrating. Our ability to be able to celebrate our independences from whatever country you come from and have celebrations, festivals, everything in another country. That's freedom. That's what soldiers are dying for today. That's what soldiers are giving an oath to our Constitution and our freedom and sacrificing themselves to go to war if they're called for it, to go and die for that. That's why we celebrate 4th of July. Because that Declaration of Independence allowed us to do the things that we do today in this country. And if you're willing to dismiss your family members, your friends, because they have different ideas than you, you're a bigot. Don't just look at Donald Trump as a bigot. It's a word being tossed around because it's a trend. But if you're willing to dismiss people and not have open discussions without it being a fight, you're a bigot. It's in the definition. You guys want to scream human rights. Do you know who was involved with implementing human rights? You know who Eleanor Roosevelt is? Stop looking at social media. You can read all about this. Teach yourselves. Education is free here in this country. It is. You can literally jump on technology and do the research yourself. It's available. You can teach yourself to fix a car on YouTube. On YouTube. We have Wikipedia. All that stuff. WikiLeaks, whatever you want to call it. You can Google anything today and teach yourself so much information. Our government's finances and everything is public information. The laws being passed, you can read the entirety of them online in the comfort of your home, on a laptop, on your phone. You can read the entire thing. But you're so lazy that you would rather jump on a trendy thing like social media and let people lead you astray with improper information, missing pieces of information, vital information. You gain experience by reading these things. Experience is so important. You can't go get a job without experience half the time, right? Get out of your walls. Learn something. We're free here to do so. Don't blindly follow things just because you heard something. You want to talk about freedom of speech, yet you're cutting people off for their freedom of speech because you only want them to hear you? You're a bigot. Have those conversations with each other. I guarantee you, if you do it properly with respect towards one another, you will have some middle ground. It's very possible. Set some rules before the conversation. Hey, hold the ball in your hand. It seems silly. Hey, when I have this in my hand, I speak. And when I pass it to you during a moment of pausing, it's your turn to speak as I gather my thoughts so that we can take turns communicating. That way we can learn off of each other, maybe meet in the middle ground. You might have some information that I don't have, that I don't know, that you can teach me, and I might have something that I can teach you. But that's a dream right now. Y'all don't want to listen to each other. You're ignorant. You're a bigot. Read the true definition of these things. And back to Eleanor Roosevelt, human rights that you guys are screaming about. Do you know that she was the chair? She was in the chair in the United Nations as a woman, mind you, that helped draft human rights under the United Nations with other nations, brought it together to form human rights that are supposed to be followed globally. Ask me if that's not freedom. A woman went and did that. A woman. You want to know when? Since we're screaming that women don't have rights either, I apologize, but I was researching all of these things. I really wanted to know. Really wanted to know. 1948 was the Declaration of Human Rights with the United Nations. 1948, during a time women were supposed to be at home. You guys are seriously uneducated. I was uneducated myself. And I took the time to start reading. I didn't want to sit there and be ignorant. I suggest you guys start doing the same thing. Social media is killing you guys. It's causing the divide. You yourselves are dividing each other because you refuse to get out of your four walls. I love you guys. God bless. And if I lose some friends for this, so be it. I will gain more. Have a great rest of the weekend. Spend time with your family. And if at all possible, you might as well avoid politics.